Hey, Dave Cousens, how are you, my friend? Good to see you.
Very good, thank you.
Hello to the YouTubers. Hello to everybody on Behance. Nice to see you all here. It's been a week, isn't it, mate? It's been a week.
It has. It has.
We were talking a little bit about how you were a bit poorly, but you're better now, so that's good.
I am. Yeah, I'm much better now. Yeah, I've spent a lot of last week asleep, to be honest.
Nice. Sounds like my own.
But I was recovering. It was to like work, recover, then read some graphic novels and play a bit of Cheers of the Kingdom. And that's kind of it. Not much to report.
Okay, good. I have something to report.
Kind of the opposite of the week before.
Last week, you might remember that I'd updated TipSquirrel.com, and I've done it again. I've had 2 weeks in a row.
You're okay?
Yeah, why? Because I'm doing stuff.
Sorry, yeah.
So this week, I followed up last week's post with one that Jan Kabili, you might remember, prompted, but I said I was all over it, where you can create different image sizes with Adobe Express. So if you like, go ahead and have a look at that. See what you think. Let me know. Give me some feedback. Would like to see it. Something else has happened as well, Dave. This one I'm quite excited about. I'm quite very excited about this one. I didn't even tell you about this one before the show, did I? Here we go. Look at this. Oh, Tippy's Quiz Night. It's coming. Possibly this week, the first one, Tippy's Quiz Night. So be ready. If you're not sure whether you see it or not, go over to my YouTube channel and subscribe, and it'll pop up as soon as it's ready. I'm really looking forward to that one. It's a lot of fun.
I really like our on-air production meetings. I think they're really good.
Yeah. Well, this one's got nothing to do with you. Nothing to do with but yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. It's a bit of fun, bit of a laugh. Should be so good.
Do you want to tell me and everybody else that kind of watching a bit more about that, actually?
The format as of at the moment is 30 questions based on a certain aspect of Adobe software. The first one, exclusive. The first one is one of my favorite features of Photoshop, smart objects. So 30 questions about Photoshop smart objects. So I give you the 30 questions, and then I give you the 30 answers to go with them, with a bit of a silliness in between, I suppose. So if you think you know Photoshop smart objects, have a look, see what you know. There you go. So that's what I've been working on over the last few days. Love to hear your feedback. When that goes live, I would love to hear your feedback and know what you think about it, and whether 30 is too many or too little. Who knows? But yeah, that's good, isn't it? That's my week. Next week, we have none other than Deke McClellan lined up for us. Now, this may be a delayed one, so if you're watching us live on Behance, just be prepared. It may not be the 6 o'clock. We're yet to have that confirmed. I know there's a bit of shenanigans with Deke at the moment, so bear with us. We will let you know, and of course I'll let you know, David, as soon as I know. So you know what to do is turn up whenever you want to rock up. And then after that, we've got Sean coming in, Shawnee, and then the lovely Aaron Stone is coming. And that will wrap up our first season in inverted commas, because I think we might carry on. I'm going to have a break, are we? Just plow on. Carry on. Can't get rid of a say easy. Good. Let's bring on the
like a fungal infection.
All right. Let's bring the guest on, shall we?
Yeah, absolutely. He's already been waiting far too long.
He's been waiting 2 weeks, so we should get this done. All right, here we go then. Let's see if I can get through this. This week, we welcome a true globetrotter and artist with an unyielding passion for capturing the world through his lens. Our guest's journey into photography started at the age of 14 when his parents gifted him a Nikon F40. From that moment on, his artistic creativity flourished, and he embarked on a mission of trial and error, experimenting with light, f-stops, shutter speeds, and everything in between. As the years passed, he honed his craft, mastering the art of photography, and eventually discovered his true calling, travel photography. His love for travel took root when he challenged himself to visit 30 countries before turning 30. With sheer determination and the motto, either find a way or make one, he achieved his goal, which only fueled his wanderlust. Now he proudly stands, having explored more than 40 countries. Among his favourite destinations are Iceland and Norway, which holds a special place in his heart. Our guest's photography is not just about capturing beautiful landscapes and mesmerising vistas. It's about sharing his unique perspective with the world. His mantra, "Let me show you what I see," is the driving force behind his work. He believes in experiencing the world for himself and sharing its wonders with others through his photography and writing. His work has graced the pages of prestigious publications like Time, National Geographic, Lonely Planet, and The Times, among many others. His expertise extends beyond photography, as he also educates and inspires others through his contributions to scottkelby.com, idavewilliams.com, and once upon a time, a little website called TipSquirrel.com. That's TipSquirrel.com. Moreover, his book, The Complete Aurora Guide for Travellers and Photographers, is a testament to his dedication to sharing knowledge and insights with fellow adventurers. So, without further ado, let's dive into the captivating world of travel photography and find out what's what with today's special guest. It's Dave Williams. Hello.
Hey,
A gnat's breath away, wasn't I?
I was so relieved you didn't go for a take two on that one. I would have just walked off.
Start again. Welcome, Dave. Good to see you, my friend.
Good to see you.
Thank you very much for having me. Good to see you too, both of you guys.
And can I just say,
And,
a hard
it's an
no.
interesting book you just mentioned. Very interesting book, Amazon bestseller.
Amazon bestseller. So how does one become an Amazon bestseller, Dave? Determination.
Right. And then one day someone says, "Hey, look, it's a bestseller." Like, oh, it'll be cool.
So
Yeah.
we spoke about the Aurora and your book about the Auroras. That's something that's happening right now where you are. Because where are you now, Dave?
Well, I live in Norway now, in Lofoten. So, 3 nights ago, the Northern Lights started. Well, they didn't. They started about 5 nights ago, but they were just so faint and it wasn't dark enough. But I could see them there. But the first proper picture was 3 nights ago, and it was an aurora sunset. So in the same frame, I've got the orange glowing horizon from the sunset, with the Northern Lights above it, where the skies are slightly dark. And that said, it's get dark for another 2 weeks.
Okay.
It's astronomical twilight, nautical twilight, all the differences. It's still twilight. It's not dark.
I first experienced that in Scandinavia, in Sweden, the north of Sweden. It's a weird thing to go out sort of for a walk at 10:30. Your body clock says, you go for a walk now. And I should have been in bed. I should be in bed like an hour ago. Have you adjusted to that?
Yeah, so I'm kind of used to it from travel, but this is obviously the first time I've lived in it. And it's weird because you have to sort of train yourself to, like, you have to override the bit in your brain that says when you shouldn't sleep. You have to tell yourself, now I sleep, now I wake up. And the same for winter when the sun doesn't come up for a few weeks.
Totally understand. I compared it as a bit of akin to what you call it when you fly somewhere else.
Jet lag.
Jet lag, yes. It was a bit like jet lag in that my body clock was saying one thing, but my brain was saying another.
Absolutely. And people do suffer from it. People get seasonal affective disorder. So there are loads of methods to deal with that, chemical methods. Some people take one to tell that, vitamin D is a key thing in there, actually.
Yeah.
But then also, the special lights and stuff to mimic daylight. And like people have a light in the center of their window quite often around. So you're driving in the middle of the night, you see houses with a light in the middle of the window as if it's mimicking the light coming in from outside.
That's really interesting.
Interesting.
I've got seasonal affective disorder light, actually. But I mean, sorry, to me adding something, I'm not going to go get it or anything. But yeah, no, but it is nice. It does it trick your brain into thinking you've got more fun than you have.
Yeah,
but it's still
my body's fine with it, but
yeah,
you'll see if that could easily change. So I'm not.
But I say you were kind of used to it from traveling though. So
I'm kind of used to it from my previous job, from just forcing myself into being awake all the time, followed by photography trips.
Your previous job?
Yeah. Don't act like you don't know.
Hey, this is how you interview people, David. I've seen it. I've seen it on the telly. Yeah, oh, really? Your previous job, was that a demanding job? That had you doing shit?
It was, yeah. It was a very demanding job working for the government, doing all kinds of shifts in a very active.
Because now, if people don't know, they're just going to automatically assume you're a spy. Yeah, work for the government. That's all you need to know. All you need to know.
That's all he can tell you.
Of course, that's when we first met, was when you were breaking news of photography. And we met. I still actually remember the first time that we met. I really don't remember. But anyway. Go on.
Found each other on the internet because of some kind of. I was writing a blog. You had TipSquirrel. You asked me if I wanted to contribute to TipSquirrel.
I had what?
TipSquirrel.com. I don't know if anyone's heard of it. And there's coffee involved somewhere.
And it was
Eric. This was 12 years ago, maybe.
It was weird. This has become a bit of a theme of what's what now. Is a meeting up with old friends and just reminiscing, but it shows the longevity of a lot of what our guests are doing. And with yourself, I feel like that has always been an upward trajectory. Like I say, I met you when you were first sort of breaking into photography. You're in your spy job and you wanted to break out of that and you wanted to do photography. But your sheer determination was evident to me even back then. It was quite incredible. Are you a determined person as a whole?
Headstrong, I guess, is the word. I don't know. When I want to achieve something, I will. Yeah, I'll put my mind to it. If I don't want to, if I'm not interested by something, it's not going to catch me, and I'm not going to care. Or if I think, I will go out of my way to make sure it happens. Like you said at the beginning, find a way, I'll make one. That's tattooed on my arm. Find a way, I'll make one. So I will.
I want to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say that from the several iterations of our conversation that we had that didn't manage to get broadcasted, that was one of the things I really found out when like it was a recurring theme throughout all of your history, was very much that you discovered you wanted to do something, and then you just not spiritual way, but you manifested it. Basically, it's like you found a way to make that happen, which is always really cool.
I love all these inspirational quotes and stuff. I used to write them all over Instagram.
Yeah.
Another one that I like a lot is, if not now. If you want to do something, loads of people say, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow.
Whereas I'll go out tomorrow.
Yeah.
Now when? If you don't do it now, it's not going to happen. So, stupid ideas.
So if somebody wanted to, they're on the brink of photography career, and they came to you for advice, what would you say to them?
Did your share just ring?
I was momentarily distracted because I thought it was going down. So Dave did warn us that his chair has lost a bit of its and it slowly goes down. But also there's a couple of bits on the back of your chair that make it look like you've got elf ears, which is really, really, yeah, that, yeah. If I there you go.
Oh God, now I can see it.
Everyone needs a pillow.
When everybody needs a pillow to rest on, indeed. So what advice would you give to somebody that was on the brink of a photography career?
Ooh. So I'm going to relate it to getting a van and driving around the world, apparently aimlessly, for a few years. The reason I did that is because I was testing the limits, seeing what was what. What's what? Yeah,
Nothing's organic.
Slipping these things in. Yeah, the only way to do it is to do it. There's no point. Like, if you want to make a plan, great, but you have to act on the plan. There's no point writing it down and not acting on it. If you genuinely want to do something, if you're toying with ideas, then great, write it down and make a plan that way and see what you think. But you have to just do the things that you want to do, because you don't get long. And things happen. Like, I'm sure anyone beyond the age of about 30 has had lots of big things happen in their life that have made them go, life is pretty short, I'm sure. And so, you need to just do these things. If you really are passionate about something and you want to do something, as long as you're not going to negatively affect anyone else, then do it. It sounds too simple.
Yeah, and I mean, you are talking about confidence as well there, though, Dave. And not everybody has that level of confidence. And there is, I mean, I'm sure we could name one person that has a reluctance to moving forward just in case.
Yeah, but just in case is ridiculous, because, like, if you look at just in case, then you're looking at, like, doing a risk assessment, and a risk assessment is, if something happens, how likely is it to happen, and how bad is it if it does happen? And so if you methodically look at your plan that way, if something bad happens, how bad is it going to be, and what are the chances of this happening? Then you can sort of rationalize and, I don't know, educate yourself, I guess, to help you make that decision, and perhaps to give you the confidence and the drive. Am I thinking?
You are thinking again.
Right, I'm staying here, and the camera's
going. Just stay low.
There we go. There we go.
So you can give yourself the boost. Give yourself the boost that you need to follow through on your plan. And at the end of the day, if something bad does happen, ignore it, die. How bad is it really? It's an inconvenience.
Yeah. And I mean, I just playing devil's advocate with you for a second. It depends on your dependence as well. Not everybody is, just reliant on themselves and that's it.
Yeah.
A lot of people have people that are relying on them. So, being able to pass up a good job, give up that very good job to take the chance on something can often be a little bit of a worry.
Yeah, I've got to lean more with Dave on this one. I think, yeah, there you go. There you go. I thought Dave's the winner. No, I kind of agree. I think you can, and I have done this sometimes in the past. I have been prone to overanalyzing things and not necessarily jumping on something as quick as I could. And I think, like, the majority of the time I've done something and taken a chance, it's paid off, like, almost every single time. But the bit of wisdom which I often remember was, do you remember the General Norman Schwarzkopf, old Stillman Norman?
Was that your age? Yeah. I was
very young in this one. But the point was, somebody asked him once how he makes military decisions. Because he has, when he was in charge of the American Army, he had just tons and tons of paperwork. It'd take more time to read than it would for the scenario to play out. And so he said, I just read the first few and then make a decision. And his theory was, and I kind of agree with this, that if you take too long to make a decision, then things are going to happen without you anyway. And if you make the wrong decision quickly, you can then course correct. And then you can kind of get back to what would be a better decision, or you've made the right decision really quickly. And so I kind of agree with that.
I like that. The other analogy I have for it is if you want to make progress and you're going up the ladder, you're taking it one step at a time. You're not going straight to the top. So if you have a big goal or a big challenge or a big, I don't know, a big contract with a client or a big thing on at work, whatever it may be in your world, look at it like a ladder and take each individual step. Break down the whole challenge, the whole problem into manageable chunks and deal with them one at a time. That way, you're making slow progress, but each piece of progress is the reward you have achieved something. If it fails, you only fall one step at a time. You don't fall the whole way back down the ladder.
Yes.
And maybe as you're climbing the ladder might get longer and the challenge might get bigger, but you've got the rewards that you're building in making each little step along the way to keep your momentum going.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what's your next step, Dave Williams?
Yeah. I'm currently still on the ladder dealing with everything here. So part of it here is in a post-Brexit world where I need a visa, I have a job. So I work for a company called TipSquirrel, which is a guide company for photography tours. So we do Northern Light tours, day tours, landscapes, Northern Lights. We do all that good stuff. And I'm building some workshops at the moment to drive that a little bit harder and faster, and refining the day tours, the Northern Lights tours and stuff that we currently have to sort of bring them up to speed in line with the competition economically in terms of what we offer. So there's tools going on, and that involve websites, marketing, forecasting, dealing with TripAdvisor, via tour, Get Your Guide, all the local hotels, all that. These are the steps on my ladder right now.
Nice.
The whole it goes back to photography workshops. Oh, how did you make that connection? Nice one, Eric.
Damn, Eric, that was smooth. That was great.
And that is your current job in Norway, isn't it? You're running workshops and leading people on photography tours. I've got your website here if people would like to know more details about that. Then idavewilliams.com is the hub for it. Go there and you'll find all the details. Now, why have you decided I want to tell people about this, I want to share my knowledge, rather than I want to go and take photographs and leave people behind?
It's both, really, because I'm out taking photos when there are no guests, which is quite rare, but when it happens, I'm out taking photos on my own. And when we're on tours, I can still take photos, create videos with the people around me. Obviously, the guests are the priority because I want to make sure they have the best experience and they get the best pictures they can. But I can still do that while it's all happening, which is awesome. In terms of the workshops and teaching people like how to take pictures in the Northern Lights and how to do landscape photography, kind of a thing I've always done. I've always been involved in education in some way. In my job as a spy, I was teaching the new spies.
Yeah.
In my sort of hobby that I had, for anyone that's in the UK, I was a air cadet, adult sergeant. In anyone that's not in the UK, it's like the youth section of the Royal Air Force. And I was the training officer. And London, I was the media officer. And so I was teaching how planes fly, how engines work, how to shoot a gun, stuff like that. And then with photography, I figured out that my blog back in the day, when it was Hybrid Dave, had a lot of interest. And so I was teaching how to do certain things with a camera or in Photoshop, which is obviously where you found me, TipSquirrel. And so, yeah, education's always it's always something I've been interested in. I like to share. I like to show people how to do things. I don't want to, if I learn how to do something, I don't want to keep it a secret. I want other people to benefit from the things that I'm benefiting from. And so I'm happy to share my knowledge. And it's weird because, like within the photography industry, there's a certain level of like what you say and what you don't say. And the answer is never, it depends, even though it is quite often, it depends. And all this sort of stuff to do with teaching, conferences, writing magazines.
Yeah.
I just don't hold back. I'll tell everything. And I will say it depends, but I'll explain why it depends. What does it depend on? Like if you're, certain apertures for certain shots, it depends. It's never a good answer according to the book.
Is that the same reason as why you wrote the book? Just to impart knowledge?
Which one? The aesthetic or the meaning of life? Or the...
We'll get to the meaning of life in just a minute, but certainly the how-to books, was that the same sort of the same mindset?
The Eiffel Tower effect is a lot to do with Instagram and the hit. So,
and the what?
The reason the reason it's called the Eiffel Tower effect is because the Eiffel Tower is the most photographed monument structure thing in the world. If you Google it, there's billions of search results. It's ridiculous. And so there are all these people passing through Paris and they all go and take a picture of the Eiffel Tower. And so it's really difficult to get a unique shot of the Eiffel Tower. So it's the Eiffel Tower. Trying to get a unique photo of a over photographed location. Around here in Lofoten, there's a few places that are sort of overset on Instagram, like the famous view from Hanoi Bridge with the little red cap next to the sea with a mountain in the back there.
Good.
And so the Eiffel Tower effect deals with various techniques you can use to overcome the Eiffel Tower effect in order to shoot in a unique way, find your own creative voice as a photographer to create photos that stand out from the crowd. Either just for your portfolio or to be able to sell them as licensed images or to stock libraries or whatever that may be. But it's all that same concept. Like it depends. What does it depend on? Well, maybe if you stand over there, maybe if you change this setting, maybe if you go from landscape to portrait, all this stuff is covered.
Do you think that you have developed a look?
No.
Good, because I that was going to be my next line of questioning. Quite often when I stroll through, I'll recognize people's work, but I only recognize your work because of maybe the location, or it's one that I've stopped on and gone, oh, it's Dave Brilliant.
Yeah.
So, was that a conscious thing?
Kind of. I like to test the limits and push the boundaries, and so everything looks a bit different because I'm not just... The reason a lot of people's work looks the same, I'm going to be blunt. It's not everyone. It's a lot of people, but it's not everyone. Because they just hit apply preset. And...
Okay, but also, I mean, just, again, I'm going to do my job here and play a bit of devil's advocate.
Go on.
To be known for a certain style as a photographer is important. So
yes.
Why did you decide, I don't need that style, I need to diversify, people don't need to recognize my work?
Part of it is because of what I just mentioned, because I'm always testing new things and testing new styles, so everything's not going to be the same. The other reason is I like to think I shoot travel photography.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm not shooting landscape all the time. I'm not shooting food. I'm not shooting lifestyle portraits, travel, transport story. I'm not shooting the same stuff, the same subject all the time. I'm shooting photos that hopefully make you want to be at the place, whatever the subject of the picture is. And that's what, to me, travel photography is. So it's the only genre that really have a subject. The thing that's hooked on the back of it is the feeling the picture gives you.
Interesting.
So it's things in the newspapers and the magazines and the travel websites and the travel brochures. It's the pictures that make you want to be in that place with whatever. So it could be food, it could be a landscape, it could be a moose.
Yeah, well, that was one of the ones I was going to mention. So recently, in in the last week, I think you've put photograph of a moose and a fox, which have very similar styles. They're taken at the same time, I assume, or around about the same time. But then there was this one of the red cabin that you're talking about that was highly saturated and very stylized, completely different. I mean, very, very different. And I love them both, of course. I'm not just saying that, that I did because I sent you a message. But what I can't say what the message was, but it was bigging you up. It was, but very different, very, very different. And I find that quite intriguing as someone that, my photography, if I find something that works, I'll stick at it as long as I can until I find something else that works. But I guess that's your ladder analogy again. So you are taking steps in different directions.
Yeah. So hopefully, and don't hold back, don't lie, tell me the truth. Did you want to be there with the fox?
I love foxes, so yes. But yeah, it was.
Oh yeah, no,
it was very spring evening, beautiful.
I've seen I've been looking at your photography for a long time now. I think it's been at least 2 years I've been following you, and the travel stuff is just gorgeous. Like, there's so many of the environments you've taken. It looks stunning, absolutely.
Does it make you want to be there?
Yeah, which is actually a big thing, because quite often I will quite happily look at a photo and not get anywhere.
I think more realistically, it makes me jealous that I'm not there. Maybe they're probably the same thing, just from a different perspective, perhaps. I mean,
for me, this means I'm doing my job, and travel photography is the genre that I'm achieving, because I can shoot any subject. I'll go and stand, like a couple of months ago, I was standing on the side of the hill in Wales, the MacWig, shooting Hercules and F-15s flying past.
Yeah.
And I'd like you want to be there with the pictures that I was creating, and the subject in front of me could be anything, as long as I tick the box and make you think I'd like to be there at that spot, wherever that is in the world. Then that's great, because that also means that's why I'm selling pictures and licensing pictures to the likes of, like you said at the beginning, Time magazine, Forbes, all these travel sections in the newspapers. I mean, in-flight magazines and all that stuff. That's why. It's because that's what I'm trying to achieve with the pictures, is make you want to be there.
Very good.
So is there a way? Oh, sorry, I was going to ask. Is there a way how? I don't know. Like, how do you achieve that? It's kind of, if it's a bit too reductive. Are there things you look out for, or like what for you makes one of those photos which kind of makes people want to be there? Because it does work, and I'm wondering kind of what the secret sauce is as far as.
Yeah. So you've got to be sort of similar to what your eyes see. So
yeah,
extreme up and down or whatever is not going to work, because you don't generally stand there like that, looking at thing. And too wide or too narrow, similarly, it's different to what your eyes see. And from there on, it's all what the person's looking at, whether that's the perspective or the composition. When you're taking a picture, post-processing, where you're brightening things, darkening things, and causing the person to land on a certain spot. And the spot is going to be hopefully something that's relatable, because that's going to tick a switch in your mind. There's a big thing at marketing about, if you want somebody to invest in your product or buy your product or invest in your service, you have to make them be able to see themselves as like the subject.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Like, if I'm looking at a workshop, I want to be able to imagine myself there doing it. I'm going to be so much more connected and invested.
Yeah,
that's the case. Well, there's so many ways to achieve that, largely through post-process, and just make people feel like that could be me. I want to be there.
So, yeah, for those that do want to be there, let me just quiz you a little bit about the workshops. So, first of all, I know this because of our previous conversations that we kept to ourselves. Those red cabins are where people stay, right? When they come on. But you were saying they were quite old.
That they were what, sorry?
Quite old.
Very old. So
That's not to say they're falling down. They're beautiful.
because they're not. They're good. Besides, as the place where we're holding the workshops is from 1828, and so it's 195 years old for the main building itself. The cabins around it, some are older, some are newer, but they're all around 200 years old. There are some new ones there, and you can tell which ones are the new ones. They're like the luxury build. But this whole place is about 200 years old, and it's Vorbu. Vorbu is the word for the little red fishermen's cabins, or fishermen's huts. They're called Vorbu. And so we're staying in Spinnerød Vorburg, Vorburg being the plural of Vorbu. I don't know if you can tell, I'm also learning Norwegian very fast.
Are you still number one in Duolingo?
Last week I finished at number one in the top league. Yeah, we've just reset.
Well done.
Workshop where we've got about a 200-year-old traditional luxury fisherman cabin resorts to stay at.
Beautiful.
With a restaurant, sauna, with a classroom. Everything's perfect. And then because we're centrally located within Lofoten, we can easily get to any of the famous locations or any of the secret locations that I'm going to be taking people to. It's going to be awesome. The first one is Vikings, and then we're also looking at doing some landscape and Northern Lights workshops, which I think will be January or February or March or February or March. Somewhere soon.
Yeah,
we're going this winter.
January in Norway is that? I mean, weather-wise, is it going to be?
Yeah, weather. So the advantage of working with who I'm working with, but also having spent so much time here myself, is I've learned about the local weather systems. And so it can be cloudy on one side of a mountain and clear on the other, for example. Yeah. There's just so many mountains and valleys, and it's right by the sea. But quite often, there's a clear sky somewhere. You just have to know where to look to find it. I'm pretty good at it. I'm not going to lie.
But the thing about having a country that does have extreme weather is that they know how to deal with it. So, it can be 6 foot of snow, and it's a nothing thing to the Norwegians. I'm assuming from my time in Sweden that so if it snowed, they know how to cope with it. And how long do the workshops last, Dave?
They're all roughly a week, so there'll be 6 nights or 7 nights. Wow. All the details will be at idavewilliams.com or on my socials, which is idavewilliams. So as soon as it does get released, the information will be there. But I think if anyone signs up to my mailing list, as long as I remember, I'll tell the people on my mailing list a little bit before I actually put it up on the website.
Okay. Priority. Nice. That's Dave Williams for all the details. Excellent. And I mean, landscapes in Norway are just to die for, right? So you were saying you're very close to a mountain peak that is well known, or a mountain range that's well known.
Quite a few. Yeah, there's the Hamnøy viewpoint with the famous mountain behind it.
Famous in what way, Dave?
Famous like you've seen it on Instagram. Which one though? Because there's so many right. It seems like you're getting at something.
No, I asked the questions, Dave. What is this famous for?
Oh no, do I have to be good at it?
Talk about Swallow, the goat where people jump. What about that one?
Right. Yeah. Cool.
So there's a mountain with 2 spikes, and people jump from one spike to the other. It's called the goat. That's it's probably about 3 miles from where I am right now.
Have you done the jump between the two?
No, the photographer, not an
idiot. Some may suggest that you can be both. And that maybe you have to be.
Shoot it with the Northern Lights with someone jumping behind.
Might be nice.
So,
and you also
such a good answer.
We also mentioned, you also mentioned last time we spoke that the Vikings that you have for one of your workshops are actual Vikings. They are professional Vikings.
Their job is to be Vikings.
How does that work?
Yeah, they look very authentic as well. No.
Pretty good, aren't they? They're not boring museum Vikings that spread and tell you stories about tents.
Yeah,
They're proper. It's Vikings. They've got fantastic. Like they do all their own makeup. Their costumes are very well made, leather, and expensive.
yeah. The care, the attention to detail with their costumes is so impressive.
Yeah, it's
It really is.
But yeah, like if you watch a Netflix or a HBO Viking show, they're probably in it.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not very scary.
Thinking that might be another avenue I could pursue. Go and be a Viking somewhere. I mean, they must have had old tubby Vikings, right? And it must have been around.
Yeah, yeah. What's the next one?
I was assuming you were going to invite me to come and model me. Well, fine.
Oh my God, I can't believe I missed it. But in the chat, Oliver Andrews has just said Eric's a Viking, and I can't believe I missed that one.
There you go.
Eric, do you know anything about Eric the Red?
I know a little bit. More with being grown up, being called it from time to time. That's
Wasn't he
Eric
the
the
one-
Hartherby, and
Eric the Red was the one, I think, that was banished from Denmark, went to Iceland, then got kicked out of there as well, and then went to Greenland, called it Greenland to try and convince everyone to come there, but then they found out it was just ice. That's what
it was more white and blue than it was green. But there are some good Erics. We were talking about Eric Morecambe a few weeks ago. I don't know why we're talking about this. Things have gone on a bit of a tangent. Yeah.
TipSquirrel.com. He's nice.
Who's that?
Eric Renno from TipSquirrel.com.
From TipSquirrel.com, you say?
Yeah, it is.
He's all right, isn't he? He is all right.
I've heard bad things. I've heard bad things. I'll be honest.
Well, that's because you never contributed, David Cousens, so you don't get the best of an idea. You get the sarcastic, nasty one. I've lost my train of thought completely now. So we were talking about Vikings and what it is to be a professional Viking. Where was I going from there? I did have a plan. I've got no idea now. But that's not the only workshop. You've already said that is going to be landscapes as well. Do you have a particular favourite? Do you go, I prefer people than the mountains, or? Sorry? Do you have a favourite? Do you prefer doing workshops with people, or landscapes? Or?
It's easier to work with models that don't talk, so I guess mountains and northern lights. But I'm quite happy to.
I just assumed that was a snub of me again then.
With the mountains and the northern lights, that's my specialist subject, so that's fine. With the portraits, I can do it, but it's not my specialty. So with the Viking workshop, I have Kirsten Lutz helping me, who is a pro portrait and edge who knows everything you need to know about light. So I'm hoping I might learn a thing or two about that while I'm one else.
Now, one of the things I learned from you, which I can't believe that I reached the age that I am, early 40s, and that I didn't know this, was that the northern lights don't move as quickly as you see them in videos. They move really slowly.
Yeah,
which
they can move really fast, but it has to be very active.
Because I remember you posted once about you showed it in real time, and it was just not really doing anything. But when you speed it up, it looks like a ballet of lights. It was quite incredible. I didn't realize that was a thing.
No, you're not used to seeing Aurora video yet. The world, not you, just every day.
Yeah.
To film the Northern Lights requires, excuse me, to film the Northern Lights, you need about $5,000 worth of this bit, about 1,500 quid's worth of this bit, because that sensor is extremely, extremely good. That's this Sony A7S III. So it's only a 12 megapixel sensor, and the megapixel rating was nothing, but it is incredibly sensitive. And then the lens is the Sigma 20mm 1.4. So that 1.4 allows light to flood in to that sensor.
Okay, for those that are not familiar with these terms, we've got a lot of graphic people that join us rather than photography. When you reel off this 1.4, what is a 1.4? What are you talking about?
1.4 is the aperture.
Okay.
So how to explain it? The aperture is expressed as a fraction of the hole of the lens. So the hole inside the lens expands and contracts. That's the aperture, and it's expressed as an inverse thingy. You know the maths on it. So basically, the closer it is to 1, the bigger it is, and the bigger it is moving up from 1, the smaller it is. Expressed as a fraction that changes by half for each number on the.
So a 1.4 is a big hole in the lens.
1.4 is a big hole.
Okay. And why does that make a difference?
We haven't had the technology to film the Northern Lights, or the public hasn't had the technology to film the Northern Lights at a cost-effective price for ever until this camera came out and lenses like that came out. So the video that you're used to seeing of the Northern Lights is not a video, it's time-lapse. It's a series of photos stitched together. And therefore, because it's a longer exposure time, the movement appears far quicker, 24 to 30 times quicker, depending on the frame rate. So when you see the Northern Lights now, they look really slow. But when you actually look at the Northern Lights real-time video, you can see it moving. And when it's very, very active, it moves a lot, like it races across the sky.
Oh, okay.
All depends on the space. I can explain the space weather if you want.
Sure, why not? I think we're all okay. And it's always I just dismissed that. I'm sorry, but it's all explained in this book by Dave Brilliant, the David Williams Show. Why are you drawn to Aurora, though, Dave? What is it about it that makes it your specialist subject?
I'm pretty sure anyone that you ask that's seen the Northern Lights, not like on a bus tour where there was a little bit of green and then they took you home and said that's the Northern Lights, seen it real where it is active and dancing, they'll tell you they want to see it again, and there's no limit to how often. It's kind of addicting. And so the first time I saw it was in Iceland, and just like I'm sure 99% of people that see it, I wanted to see it again and again and again. I wanted to figure out, how can I figure out when it's going to happen, where it's going to happen, what's causing all this to happen in the sky above me, how far away is it actually? All these questions came into my mind. There was no solid answer, so I had to do a lot of research to figure out the answers to these questions.
No, you just get an app.
Well, that's the reason I wrote the book, because I couldn't find all the information in one place. And yeah, it's addictive. And so now, years on, having shot and videoed the Northern Lights time and time and time again, I'm still hooked. If it was happening now, I'd hang up. I'd be gone.
Thank you.
That's entirely fair.
Most magnetic show that nature has to offer.
And even after all these times you've seen it, you would still like just up sticks and go. It's
yeah.
It sounds like you're having a bit of a, correct me if I'm wrong, a bit of a spiritual kind of experience when it happens.
Yeah, no, I don't know. Right, I mean, I'm pretty deep anyway. So, yeah, I don't. It's not really like I'm not. I know people that go crazy when the Northern Lights comes out, like get crazy, screaming, singing, dancing, jumping around. I'm not like that. I'm not that bad. But it excites me and it makes me happy, and I will go out of my way to see it. I'll stand out in -30 to see it, and if I didn't have my camera up, I'd still watch it. You know, it's a big deal to me.
When I was, I had the fortune of going to Iceland, and that was one of the things I did want to experience. And unfortunately, I missed it by a day. So I've still not experienced the Northern Lights. I mean, you can see it sometimes from Wales, apparently, which I wasn't.
Yeah, I've got a little of it from Essex.
Wow. Maybe I should stay up after 8 o'clock. Maybe that might help, might it? Anywho, on that note, we are reaching about the hour, and we're gonna wrap it up because I don't want you just to up sticks and go if the Northern Lights poke their head out. So we'll play it safe. Dave, for those that don't know, Dave joined us 2 weeks ago, and we tried to do this twice unsuccessfully. So, Dave, thank you very much for your patience and for coming back. Yeah, you know, it does mean a lot to us. And as always, it is a joy to talk to you. And I've said this to so many of our guests: we shouldn't leave it so long until next time. Obviously, we can leave it longer than that. We've spoken just recently, but before that, we left it far too long, and I hope that we keep in contact a bit more. So thank you very much, Dave. Been an absolute pleasure, and I wish you all the very best with your new ventures in Norway. It's going to happen because you're making a
live show from here.
Do you know what? I would love that, and I'll take that as an invite, and that you're going to pay me to come and do it. So, see you next week. No problem. No, I would love to, Dave, and absolutely, I'm going to make that one of my goals is to come over and take one of your workshops, because I have worked with you previously. I worked in a very loose sense of the word, and it was a joy then, and we really need to do it again in some capacity, even if it's not in person. Maybe something on a blog or something.
Maybe a TipSquirrel adventure. I don't know. Just
an adventure. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? Little tip up. We haven't had a tip up for a long time. Anywho, we digress again. Mate, thank you. And stick around because the Behance people would love to say goodbye to you properly. But for now, Dave Williams, thank you very much indeed. Thanks. That was nice. I like that. He's a good lad, is old Dave, isn't he?
Do you know what? It was nice to have a conversation that everybody else saw as well. Because like when you said it took two attempts. I had like 6 different conversations with Dave. It was really hard just now trying to to not try to repeat plot points that we had from previous conversations.
It was a strange old thing a couple of weeks ago, but yeah, to his credit, he came back and went through it all again. So genuinely,
I know what a hero.
Thank you. Next week, as I said before, Dean McClelland hopefully will be joining us. Not sure on time. But watch our social media and we will let you know. That's it then, mate. If you're watching us on Behance, stick around. You can have a quick sign off with Dave in just a minute. But that's all really, isn't it, mate? That's it.
Yeah.
No need to chit chat. Thank you ever so much to everybody that joined us in Behance, that took the time to ask questions and make comments and all the rest. We will see you next week at some point. Dave, off you go, my friend.
See you next Tuesday.